Right, something very weird is happening on XRP right now, and honestly, it's not getting the attention that it deserves. On-chain data is showing something that at first glance looks bearish, actually extremely bearish. We've had over 569 XRP whale wallets vanish in just a few weeks. This is unheard of. These are wallets holding at least 100 million XRP. These are the big boys, the elite tier holders, and apparently hundreds of them are suddenly disappearing. Now, normally when you hear whales disappearing, you'd think massive selling, panic exits, distribution at the top, or whales giving up. And most people would stop right there and assume the worst. But this is where the plot twist hits. Because at the exact same time as these whale wallets vanished, the total amount of XRP held by whales has actually surged. And not by a tiny bit, but to the highest levels in 7 years. Yes, fewer whales, but more XRP in whale hands. It doesn't add up on the surface, but trust me, when you look deeper, it starts to paint a completely different picture about what's really happening behind the scenes. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what's happening, what this really means for XRP, what the whales could be preparing for, and whether it's bullish, bearish, or something far more strategic. And I'll show you why this data might become very important over the next few months, especially if you're holding XRP through the next phase of the market. Let's get into it.
I am not a financial advisor. This video is based solely on my opinion and what I'm personally doing in this market. I also want to let you know that some of the links below and in the descriptions are affiliate links, meaning I may get a commission, but it will be at no extra cost to you. Please remember that under no circumstances will I ever contact you and ask you for investments. You can confirm all of my real social media handles in the description and also at milkshakematty.com. This content is for educational and entertainment only, and I'm not a financial advisor.
Before I get started, if you want one of these XRP Christmas jumpers, they're available on next day delivery, and there's a link in the description. Go check it out. Let's start by laying out the raw numbers, because if you don't understand these data points, the rest will not make sense. So according to Santiment, which is one of the biggest and most trusted on-chain analytics platforms, the number of whale wallets holding over 100 million XRP has dropped by 569. That's a 20.6% decrease in large holders, and that's just in the last few weeks. Now, normally, if you showed that chart to a crypto newbie, they'd scream big sell-off. Whales are running away, XRP is finished. But here's where the XRP market behaves differently from other cryptos, because Santiment also revealed that the total amount of XRP held by these whales has gone up, and it's now reached a 7-year high of around 48 billion XRP. So fewer wallets, more XRP, cleaner distribution, and tighter concentration. And that combination is extremely rare. You don't usually see wallet numbers falling while holdings increase. That tells us one very important thing. The whales who are left are not just holding, they're accumulating. This means the wallets that disappeared might not have been sold at all. They may have been merged, consolidated, reorganized, or moved to custodial storage. And the big wallets that do remain are scooping up supply. So the big question is, why are so many whale wallets disappearing? Here are the most logical explanations, and you'll see how it all fits together. The first is wallet consolidation. This is the most likely explanation in my view. Big holders sometimes merge wallets for security, custodial management, or internal movement. If a whale controls 10 wallets and they consolidate into 2, Santiment will show that 8 whale wallets have disappeared, even though not a single XRP has been sold. The second is custodial movement. Institutions or high net worth individuals might be shifting XRP into custodial solutions like cold storage or trust accounts with different wallet structures. This would reduce the number of whale wallets on chain. The third is exchange or OTC movement. Some whales move funds off chain to OTC desks, exchanges, or institutional liquidity providers. This doesn't necessarily mean selling. It could be collateral for lending or yield strategies. The fourth is whales exiting. Sure, a tiny portion could have exited the market. Profit taking does happen. But if that was the dominant reason, the total holdings would have dropped too, and they haven't. This is the key point that I'm trying to make clear. Whale numbers have dropped, but whale supply has increased. This only happens when the remaining wallets are absorbing XRP from the wallets that are disappearing, and some. That is whale consolidation. And historically, this is almost always seen during accumulation phases, not distribution phases. Let's take a step back and think this through logically. If whales were genuinely bearish, scared, or preparing to abandon XRP, we would see these things. We'd see whale holdings dropping, large transfers to exchanges, sell pressure on the order books, big red candles driven by distribution. But instead, we're seeing whale holdings hitting multi-year highs, wallet counts dropping and exchange inflows staying low. And we're seeing accumulation patterns at the top end of the market. This is the opposite of fear. This is the opposite of giving up. This is consolidation. Whales don't throw their tokens around. They accumulate when they're planning something. They accumulate when they believe the future value could be higher. And they accumulate when the liquidity is available. And that usually happens when retail is uncertain, distracted, or shaken out. Sound familiar about now? And here's the important dynamic to understand. Whales don't want to accumulate during hype. They accumulate during confusion or fear. And that's exactly where we are right now. XRP has been consolidating, ranging, battling resistance, dealing with court cases and fighting off endless FUD online. While the retail public is distracted or frustrated, whale wallets have been quietly tightening the grip on supply. As I've just highlighted to you, XRP whale holdings are now at levels not seen since 2017, and you don't get that kind of supply concentration unless big players see opportunity. It doesn't guarantee a price explosion. It doesn't guarantee a timeline. But historically, when whale concentration spikes, volatility follows, and usually to the upside. The key point is this: whales accumulate when they expect something. Whether that's regulatory clarity, utility expansion, institutional adoption, or maybe something legally significant in the Ripple case. Or it could be something to do with economics. Maybe they're now expecting a rate cut. Maybe they're now expecting Bitcoin to go on a surge. Who knows what they're expecting? We can only guess. But they don't tighten their grip without a reason. Smart money never does. One of the most fascinating parts of this data is how it affects the actual supply and liquidity of XRP in the market. When whales accumulate, they're taking XRP out of the liquid supply. They're removing it from the order books. They're removing it from circulation. And if mass accumulation is happening during a period where demand remains steady, it creates what we call a supply squeeze. You don't feel it immediately. You don't see it on the chart straight away, but slowly, block by block, the available XRP that can be bought starts to shrink. This is exactly what happened with Bitcoin before multiple bull runs. And it's what happened with Ethereum before its largest rallies. It's what happened with Chainlink, Cardano, Polygon, you name it, it happened. Supply reduction plus steady demand equals pressure building. I'm trying to make this very clear. The whales left are not slowing down. They're increasing total holdings at a time when most retail holders like me and you are confused, scared, and waiting for clarity. If we do enter a strong demand phase, whether it's triggered by regulation, adoption, macro improvements, economics, or even positive developments with the SEC, the level of whale accumulation could amplify this move, because price doesn't move purely on demand. It moves when demand clashes with limited supply. So what should XRP holders be watching now? Here are the big signals. We need to be watching whale transfers to exchanges. If whales start sending XRP to exchanges, it could signal preparation to sell. Right now, we are not seeing that. The second thing is whale transfers from exchanges. If you see large withdrawals to private custody, that's accumulation. This is what we are seeing right now. If XRP forms a tighter and tighter range while whales load up, expect a volatility breakout. And next is any macro catalysts. A single SEC headline could unlock the next wave. 5 is the utility catalysts. Ripple ODL expansion or ISO 222 connections. Anything institutional right now could trigger demand. And here's my honest view. The disappearing whale wallets are a distraction. The real story here is the 7-year high in whale holdings. If whales were bearish, this number wouldn't be rising, let alone hitting new highs. This is a classic smart money behavior. Consolidation, reallocation, strategic positioning, quiet accumulation while retail is asleep or fearful. And like people always say, watch what the whales are doing, watch what the smart money does. Well, this is what they're doing. They've got fewer wallets, more XRP, supply is tightening, and accumulation is growing for them. It doesn't guarantee a moonshot tomorrow. That is not what I'm saying. I know so many of you want an instant response to good news. Forget it. That's not how crypto works. You're in the wrong game if that's what you're looking for. It also doesn't give us a date. Forget it. It's not today. It's not tomorrow. We don't know when. It's impossible. There is no crystal ball for this. But it absolutely shifts the underlying supply that dynamics are in favor of an upside potential for XRP. Retail panics, whales accumulate. and history repeats. It's the same story over and over again. If you want to learn the exact strategies that I used in multiple bear markets and bull markets, I've developed a completely free crypto liftoff course, 100% free. You just click the link in the description below and you're straight in, off you go. If you found this breakdown helpful, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel and drop me a comment. It really helps push this video out to more people. And thank you, as always, for watching all the way to the end. And remember this, the strength of the wolf is in the pack.